So you know how I said that in my last review in this series that it was kind of like the end of an era? Well, this is the beginning of a new era in the Mission Impossible franchise. The era in which I'm calling the era of McQuarrie, in a sense. And this is the official kickoff for that era. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strunk from QuickTime Reactions, and welcome back to my Mission Impossible review series, where I am looking over all 7 of the previous Mission Impossible films en route to our final reckoning, or as I'm calling it in my head, the Any Stunt You Can Do, I Can Do Crazier tour for one Tom Cruise. And this time around, like I said, we are starting out the era of McQuarrie in this, and we are talking about 2015's Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Yes, that is correct. This movie will be celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. And like I said, it is the start of the McQuarrie era. In this movie, Ethan, once again played by Tom Cruise, is hunting down a organization known as the Syndicate, which, in a bit of foreshadowing, was teased at the end of Ghost Protocol, with Ethan getting a mission stating that he had to track down a group known as the Syndicate. But the CIA is ordering the IMF to fully shut down, and the person leading that is Henley, who is played by another actor who enjoyed a brief cup of coffee in this franchise, Mr. Alec Baldwin. But of course, our IMF team is still going to try and complete its mission to the fullest ability. And so, are they going to be able to stop the Syndicate in time? Well, we're going to find out. Like I said, this is the first out of 4 films that Mr. Christopher McQuarrie would end up directing in this franchise. He also wrote the screenplay for this movie and also had help with writing the story with Drew Pearce. J.J. Abrams once again produced this alongside Tom Cruise and all of his other producing partners. This is another Bad Robot production. The film once again sees Tom Cruise, vingrhames, simonpegg, and Jeremy Renner return in this movie. We also have some additions of people that would be in the franchise for varying lengths. For instance, Sean Harris would be another person who would have a bit of cup of coffee in this franchise, being in not only this movie but also in the next one. And Rebecca Ferguson would also be a franchise mainstay, being in this one, the next one, and in Dead Reckoning. So, having a little bit of a run here in the Mission Impossible franchise is one Rebecca Ferguson. Joe Kramer, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly, he was the person that would be doing the music, and I think he did a really good job of kind of continuing on what Giacchino had set up in the previous 2 films, and I think he did a really good job of kind of continuing on the lineage of that music. So I think he did a pretty good job of doing that. Like I said, the CIA is trying to shut down the IMF because they see it as a bit of a redundant organization. But Brandt is trying to stick up for them because, if you remember in the last film, the secretary for the IMF was killed. And so I just love the fact that when he's with the panel, he's like, he can neither confirm nor deny anything that happened because the secretary is dead. And Henley is trying to get Ethan to come back in, saying that the Syndicate does not exist. It's a figment in Hunt's imagination. And I also love how they subvert Ethan getting the message in this movie, is that he goes into the record store, He gets the record, he puts it on the record player, and I love the switch up. It's like, you know, we know that you're hunting down the syndicate because we are the syndicate. And, you know, the message self destructs, and someone who ends up being Sean Harris's character, Solomon Lane, shoots the record store clerk in the head, and the room that Cruise was in listening to the record fills up with smoke, and he passes out. And so we then see Ethan getting tortured by members of the syndicate, who are called the Apostles, which include Rebecca Ferguson's character, I believe Ilsa Fisher, if I remember correctly. Ilsa Faust. So close. So close. Ilsa Faust, who we later learn she is in deep cover trying to figure out who everyone is in the syndicate. And I absolutely love the chemistry that Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson have in like the span of movies that they have in the franchise, which all starts right here, and you can already tell that they have some like really, really good chemistry. Pardon me. The new characters, I think, slot in really, really well. Baldwin, who first starts out as, a bit of a non-believer in the IMF, but when he shows up when Ethan is tasked with trying to kidnap the British Prime Minister, he is able to witness firsthand how good the IMF is, and, converts into being a believer. And Sean Harris, I think, is a really, really good villain. Solomon Lane is like a really good villain for these next two movies. Just kind of like a presence that is felt throughout like the whole of the franchise. Like, not the whole of the franchise, but like the whole of the two movies that he's in. Because that's it's like the demon in the back of your mind. It's like he's there. You don't think about him a lot, but he is there, just waiting to strike at the right moments. And I think Harris did a really good job at portraying that. Someone who I didn't know was going to be in this movie was the MI6 head, who was played by Simon McBurney, who was in Nosferatu last year, and I thought he was really good in that, and he was also really good in this movie as well. It was cool seeing him in this. Like I said, the writing that was done by Chris McQuarrie and Drew Pearce in terms of story, and I know McQuarrie wrote the screenplay for this, I think they did a really good job of writing this movie, and McQuarrie did an amazing job of shooting this, having a lot of long takes in it so that we can see, like, yes, these are the actors like doing their stunts in this. And which, by the way, the stunts in this are absolutely insane. There are two standout ones in this film. One, which I think is probably, the most well-known one, is where Cruise is holding on to the side of the airplane while it is taking off, which is absolutely insane. But the one that I find to be even more insane is when he dives into the place that has all the profile information for the people to like access the computer at this secure facility in Morocco. He actually is underwater doing all that, and it's absolutely insane. And if I remember correctly, I think he held his breath for 6 minutes. for this movie, and I think that was a record that stood all the way until Avatar: The Way of Water, when Kate Winslet, I think, broke it. I think she held her breath for 7.5 minutes. I think. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think Cruise had the record at 6 minutes, and then Kate Winslet broke it with 7.5. I think, maybe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I think the underwater stunt, is even crazier than the one that Cruise did when hanging on the side of the plane, because to me, just being underwater and having that feeling of you're running out of air scares the crap out of me, and I don't want that feeling to ever happen to me, ever. I don't want that in my life. So I think that one puts it above, like, the one with the airplane taking off. Yeah, I don't want to have that feeling in my life. But yeah, the chemistry between the cast, absolutely incredible. Like, you can see it on the screen, like, that they know what they want to do. And that is a testament to the actors, but also to the people who write the films as well. Is like, they know these characters so well, and they know how they're going to respond, and it's so good to see. Again, stunts, absolutely insane. Writing, like I said, absolutely insane. Cast, absolutely awesome. Chemistry is absolutely insane. Direction, absolutely insane. Score was really, really good. And I think the villain in this is really, really solid as well. But I'm going to put this slightly below Ghost Protocol, because other than the what I'm calling the diner scene, even though it's not set in a diner, it's an outdoor diner, with Benji, Ilsa, and Ethan, with Benji having a bomb on his chest. I never really felt like the team was at, like, a disadvantage, whereas in Ghost Protocol I felt like the Russians were just, like, a one step ahead of the IMF team, whereas this one I felt like they were pretty neck and neck. So my ranking for them is Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, 3, 1, and 2. That's my current ranking right now. But that doesn't mean I dislike Rogue Nation. I think this one is a really, really good film, and it was a nice, solid first outing for Christopher McQuarrie. But, of course, his best work is just around the corner. But until we covered that film, guys, be safe out there, and if someone tells you that they have all of this money on a thumb drive, and you want to meet with them to try and get that thumb drive, you best be careful, because they could just learn all of that information, and they themselves can become the thumb drive and have all that banking information in their head. So I wouldn't accept it if I were you. And I will see you guys next time.